Have you ever felt like you're playing a role for your family? One that just doesn't quite fit who you really are? Well, in this explainer, we're getting into a really powerful story about just that. It's about family dynamics, the huge gap between how people see you and who you actually are, and that one explosive moment when someone decides, you know what, I'm done playing this part.
And this quote right here, this is everything. This single sentence from our main guy, Tyler, is the key to understanding this entire story. It's not just a complaint. It's basically the mission statement for his whole family, a family that is obsessed with how things look. And it sets the stage for a major, major confrontation.
Okay, let's get into it. So meet Tyler. He's 26 years old, a pretty quiet guy, but he's also a brilliant tech founder. The thing is, to his family, his success might as well be invisible. They just see him as the odd one out, the quiet kid who never really found his way, all because his achievements don't fit into their super polished, look-at-us kind of world.
And look at this. This slide just shows how deep that disconnect really is. On one side, they see him as this aimless, passion project kind of guy who really needs to get a real job. But the reality? It's completely different. Tyler is a successful founder. He built and sold his own tech company, which means he's totally financially independent. They're not just misunderstanding him. It's like they're living in a different reality altogether.
All right, so now we introduce the other players in this drama. First, there's Belle, Tyler's sister. She's all about appearances and reinventing herself. And then there's her new boyfriend, Brad. He's the textbook finance bro, and you guessed it, the family absolutely adores him. And why? Well, because he looks the part. He fits their perfect image of success, no questions asked.
So the scene is set, a family dinner. Tyler is basically summoned, not really invited, because his job is just to show up, smile, and complete the happy family picture. But this isn't just any meal. It's an ambush. And all those tensions that have been simmering right under the surface, they're about to boil over. And of course, it doesn't take long for the attacks to start. Brad, feeling all confident with the family backing him up, takes a direct shot at Tyler's career. And the family's reaction? They laugh. It's tacit approval. They're all in on the joke, and Tyler, well, he's the punchline. So when Tyler tries to push back, even just a little bit, his mother drops the family motto, "Don't make a scene." And this line right here, it just says it all, doesn't it? The number one rule in this house is that the illusion must be protected, no matter what. Your feelings don't matter, but the appearance of a happy family does.
So Brad, feeling on top of the world, decides to show off a little. He starts bragging about his firm's big plans to acquire some tiny little dev company he's heard of, something called Startup Stream. He has no idea, absolutely no idea, that he's just handed Tyler the match to light the whole facade on fire.
All that confidence, all that condescension, it was all built on one massive piece of missing information. So what exactly was it that Brad, in all his wisdom, didn't know?
2 words. That's all it took. With that simple statement, Tyler doesn't just correct Brad, he completely shatters the entire power dynamic of the room. He dismantles the false story his family has been telling themselves about him for years. And you can just imagine the silence in that room. Deafening.
And then Tyler just calmly lays out the facts. 1, Startup Stream is my company. 2, I built it 3 years ago. 3, I've had 3 meetings with your department heads, and then the final crushing blow, you weren't in any of them. Brad's credibility as this big shot deal maker instantly vaporized, and so is the family's judgment.
So in the aftermath of all this, do you think there are any apologies? Nope. Just silence. The family's response isn't to think about how they treated Tyler, but to just quietly wait. And then an invitation shows up, forcing Tyler to make a very, very calculated decision. So how did the family process this massive revelation? Well, they didn't. Instead, they completely flipped the script. In their new version of the story, Tyler wasn't the victim of their constant judgment. No, he was the aggressor who embarrassed the family by telling the truth. The illusion, once again, had to be protected.
And then this arrives. A wedding invitation for Belle and Brad. The note from his mother, wow. It's a masterclass in emotional manipulation. It's this attempt to just sweep the entire incident under the rug to make sure they get their perfect family picture on the wedding day.
And this is the moment where Tyler realizes something huge. Their desperate need for him to show up, to play his part for the perfect wedding photo, it gives him something he's never had before in this family. Leverage. For the very first time, he actually has some power in this dynamic.
So, armed with this leverage, everything changes. Tyler goes from being this passive person who just takes all of his family's dismissiveness to an active strategist. He's not just reacting anymore, he is building a plan. And this isn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. No, his plan is super methodical. Step 1,
gather info. Step 2, get some allies on his side. Step 3, accept the invitation, play along. And Step 4, prepare the evidence. This isn't about impulsive revenge. It's a cold, calculated strategy.
And the dirt he digs up? It is damning. Turns out Brad isn't just arrogant, he's a total fraud. He's not in management, he's in sales, he's got a history of bad investments, and here's the kicker. He's running a shady crypto scheme through a shell company, likely trying to scam his own friends and family.
Which brings us to the wedding day. You have to picture the scene, right? This is the absolute peak of his family's obsession with perfection. We're talking white orchids, a jazz trio, champagne. It's this flawless facade that Tyler is now about to systematically tear down right in front of everyone.
And this is where the story gets just poetic. In a moment of beautiful irony, Tyler uses the wedding's own technology, the projector they had set up for a happy photo slideshow, to present the cold, hard truth. During his toast, he puts Brad's entire fraudulent operation right up on the screen for every single guest to see.
You know, this final act, it's about so much more than just exposing a liar. It's about choosing truth over the comfortable, suffocating illusion his family has been living in for years. And in making that choice, Tyler finds his freedom.
And his final line from his speech, wow, it just says it all. For years, he was told to be quiet, to not make a scene, to put their comfort over reality. And today, he just completely flipped the script, forcing them to finally look at a truth they had spent a lifetime trying to avoid.
So what happened to everyone? Well, the fallout was swift and decisive. Brad was detained, Belle annulled the marriage within a month. The family? They went completely silent, unable to spin this new reality. And Tyler? After years of being held down by their twisted perceptions, he finally felt free.
You know, a story like this really forces us to think about the lines we draw, the roles we're willing to accept, and that moment when we decide that the truth of who we are is way more important than the part we're expected to play. So it leaves us with this question. What's the difference between the family you're given and the respect you truly deserve?